You human, you have needs. You are gonna make mistakes. You're gonna fail. You're gonna fall down as a child, bump your knee, scrape your knee, need a band-aid, you're gonna bleed. You're gonna go through things. You're gonna grow through things as well. So, that's where that part come in. It's really just replacing I'm not good enough, I'm not strong enough, with I'm learning, I'm growing, I'm healing. You get what I'm saying? We was taught a lot of things, right? We was taught a lot of things growing up. A lot of times you have to deprogram and reprogram yourself. A lot of times, depending on your childhood as well, you have to reparent yourself. Okay, sometimes you got to unlearn to learn. Sometimes you got to empty out to get filled back up, if you understand what I'm saying. All right, so some of this stuff, we just wasn't taught. We didn't talk about it much. Um, Technology is so advanced now. Some stuff wasn't around. Some stuff wasn't. Some stuff just wasn't like out in the forefront, out in the open, right? So today we talking about it. Like today we are like officially, excuse me, we are officially like just in a new era, in a new time where we talking about more. We talking about more things. I did just get a comment come in. Shout out to our friends, RIP to Calvin Thomas for sure. Thank you, Johnny, for sure. Yeah, so last week, I don't know if you guys remember, last week video I kind of went on a rant, for real, but it was definitely related to a situation. A young man unfortunately lost his life. I think it was about a week ago. Unfortunate incidents, and this is why I say, always protect your peace. Protect yourself. Ask God for protection before you leave home. And be careful. Be careful when you out here in these streets. You driving. You in a car with somebody. Just be mindful. Be present and be patient, because a lot of times these people driving skills, honey, is not up to par. It's really not up to par for real. But just be careful. Take your time. Be aware of your surroundings. A lot of times it's not about what you doing. It's really about watching the people around you. Your life is precious. You only get one of them. You know what I mean? And so it's an unfortunate thing, when you see somebody so young with so much more life to live. I just went on a whole live, like I think in December, with my high school best friend. Unfortunately, passed away as well. She was only 32, and so, it hit different when when somebody's so young and they have so much more life to live. It just makes it teaches you that time is precious, life is precious. A lot of times we take stuff for granted, but at any given moment it can be, taken away from us, right? So, yeah, that's that. But yeah, a lot of this stuff, as I was saying, like a lot of this stuff we just wasn't taught growing up. A lot of the times, some things we just didn't talk about. And now with social media, everything is out in the open, right? Everybody got an opinion. Everybody got something to say. Everybody got something to add. And so it's so much going on now. Things are more advanced. So now we can really, we got podcasts, we got social media, we got, radio, talk shows. We got so much information that's coming at us a million miles per hour. So some stuff is really good knowledge. Some stuff is really good information. Depending on, what you look at or what you put your energy and your time and attention towards, right? So today we really just gonna talk about how to love yourself when nobody taught you how. And this really could go both ways. It doesn't have to just be female centered. It can also, be geared towards males as well. Not everybody was taught, how to love themselves. Some of us grew up learning how to survive, okay? Some of us grew up just, knowing how to survive, how to please others, how to hide our feelings, but not how to value ourselves truly. And this brings me back to a time too when I was like in my early 20s, and I was having a difficult time adapting to my environment, the people in my environment. And I was always questioning, like, why do they operate like this? Why don't people really, say how they feel or say what's really on their mind, what's really on their heart? It seemed like everybody was just walking around with a mask on, like, and sometimes that's taught, right? That's taught through culture. It's taught through childhood. It's taught through parents, family members, all that stuff. It all plays a role in who we are. All those things. So, a lot of us wasn't taught how to value ourselves. How to walk away from something that don't serve you anymore. How to give people grace, but set a boundary too. It's a fine line between, you did this one time, I forgive you, but they continuously step on you, or they continuously betray you, or they continuously lie to you, or, bring negativity towards you. Then, all right, now we need to make some changes, right? So just letting you know you're not alone. Like a lot of some stuff we just don't know. You don't know until you know. You don't know what you don't know. You can't beat yourself up over something only time could teach, right? A lot of people grew up without emotional support. They may have had the financial support. Their parents may have been present in their lives, but a lot of people grew up without emotional support. I've heard many stories of people saying, their mom or their dad never told them that they loved them. They never gave them hugs and kisses. Those are all like emotional, things, and some people have grown up without that stuff. Some people were criticized more than they was encouraged. This is very common. This is something even in schools, where, a teacher or somebody might, say a mean or rude comment, say you'll never be college material, or even from your own family. Some people, they have rocky relationships with the other parent, and they'll talk very negatively, criticize the child who don't have nothing to do with it, and it's unfortunate. They tell them things like, you'll never be nothing, you'll be just like your mom, or you'll be just like your dad, or you're not gonna be nothing. And all those things really stick, you know what I mean? And maybe they wasn't encouraged as much as they was criticized, right? And some of us was just taught that we had to put everybody else first. Some of us had a lot of responsibility at a young age. And we just was taught, take care of your mom, take care of your baby brother, or take care of your little sister, take care of grandma. It's always, you got to take care of everybody else, but nobody really ever told you, like, are you okay? Like, you need some sleep, like, you need to, do what you need in the moment as well. You're not nothing to nobody else if you cannot help yourself and be right with yourself. If I'm lacking sleep and I'm hungry and I'm irritable, what good am I, to the people around me? Okay, so you can't practice something you was never taught. So that's why I said at the beginning, like, you can't beat yourself up about things, right? You can't, some stuff you just didn't know. Like, I feel like even in our culture, like, we are so far behind, because, of the history and the past and stuff like that. Like, some stuff we not where we should be, because of, the outside resistance towards us, right? But it's okay. It's okay. You live, you learn, and you grow. So step one, let's talk about it, how to really truly love and value yourself. Start becoming aware of your inner voice. I talk about this very often. We have dialogue inside of our minds, and people say they don't, they lying. Simple as that. We all have an inner voice. And sometimes people have a very harsh inner critic. They have a very harsh inner voice where, they belittle themselves, and they call themselves names. They speak negatively to themselves, about themselves, inside of their own mind, right? And so you have to really notice how you talking to yourself. When you fumble, when you make a mistake, when you say something that you probably should have thought about before you said it, how do you talk to yourself about that? Do you call yourself dumb, stupid, idiot? Like, how do you talk? Notice how you talk to yourself. Self-love start by changing the conversation you have with yourself. You get what I'm saying? And we all go through it. Some things, we think in our head, how could I be so stupid? How could I be so dumb? But you know what? A lot of times you have to redirect them thoughts. I have those thoughts as well. But you know what I tell myself? I tell myself, you know what? I didn't know what I didn't know. 1. And 2, I'm human. You know what I mean? Like, you human, you have needs. You are going to make mistakes. You're going to fail. You're going to fall down as a child, bump your knee, scrape your knee, need a Band-Aid, you're going to bleed. You're going to go through things. You're going to grow through things as well. So, that's where that part come in. It's really just replacing I'm not good enough, I'm not strong enough, with I'm learning, I'm growing, I'm healing. You get what I'm saying? So moving forward, something else, to be mindful of is, you got to give yourself a lot of times what you didn't have growing up. You have to give yourself the things that you lacked. You have to give yourself the compassion that you needed. That's a part of the reason why I do what I do, is because I didn't have a coach when I was a young girl, when I was a teenager, when I was learning, when I was coming into my own, when I was a young woman, when I became a mother, when I, went to school. I didn't have a me. I didn't have somebody teaching me balance. I didn't have somebody teaching me how to take care of myself. I didn't have somebody teaching me I'm human and I'm going to make mistakes, but it's going to be all right because I'm going to come back stronger than ever. I didn't have that. So the things that I'm doing now is going to help the young ladies today, including my daughters. You get what I'm saying? And so a lot of times you have to reparent yourself emotionally. And today, I guess we're talking a lot about emotionally, right? Because that's important too. Whether you're a male or female, a dog or cat, we all have emotions and we all have emotional needs. We all want to feel loved. We all want to feel like we belong. We all want to feel accepted. We all want to feel seen and heard and understood. These are all basic human necessities, right? And so you have to be patient with yourself. Be kind to yourself. Just like I had this conversation, I think yesterday. If I'm going through something behind closed doors and I get around a stranger or some kids who don't have nothing to do with what I'm going through, I don't take it out on them. I'm very kind to them. I'm very nice to them. But you have to do that to yourself too. You get what I'm saying? You can't just do that to other people. You have to, when you're going through something, you have to talk to yourself with kindness as well. Treat yourself the same way you would treat the next person. Be patient, be kind, be understanding. Have some self-compassion, and allow for mistakes. Like I said not too long ago, this is a lifelong learning journey. None of us know it all. We're never going to get to the point where we have officially arrived. We never going to get to a point where it's like, oh, I know everything there is I need to know. Like, this world is so big. It's so broad. It's so diverse. It's always more to learn. There's always space to grow. You get what I'm saying? So you have to allow yourself to make mistakes. Sometimes that's the only way we learn. A lot of times, me sitting here talking, it's a lot of people that they're not going to receive it. They don't receive somebody sitting in front of them talking. You know why? Because it's easy to talk. I mean, for me, I know some people have a hard time speaking, but the point that I'm making is that talking you need action. You need action as well. You get what I'm saying? So, some people, they need to see it. They need to see it. They don't need to hear you saying it. They need to see you living it, okay? So, offer yourself understanding instead of criticism and punishment. You get what I'm saying? If you fumble, you mess up, hey, acknowledge it. I'm not saying act like it didn't happen. I'm not saying sweep it under the rug here, people. Hear me clear. Because some of us do things, say things that we know doggone well that ain't right. So, just acknowledging that and, not sitting in it, not punishing yourself for long extended periods of time and dogging yourself. Just, give yourself a little understanding. Hey, maybe you was overwhelmed when you said what you said. Maybe you was running on lack of sleep when you did what you did. I'm not saying that's an excuse, but just having a little bit of understanding as to, your moods and where you at that day. Okay, so start giving yourself the kindness that you didn't have or you was missing. So fill that void for yourself. Don't look for nobody else to fix you or to make you happy. You got to do those things for yourself, okay? All right, what else? Stop seeking your worth. This is a big one. We could put a star next to this one. Stop seeking your worth from everybody else, all right? So like when people didn't receive that growing up, or they didn't receive that young adulthood, they didn't receive that in their life, that validation, they often search for it somewhere else, right? That permission, that validation. You get what I'm saying? I was one of the people that always felt like I needed permission to do stuff. And it took me to continue growing into adulthood to be like, I don't need permission anymore. Like, this is my life. This is my dream. This is my passion. This is my calling, and I can act on it. It's my God-given right to act on it, right? You don't need validation from nobody else. God didn't have a conference call when he created you. He didn't ask for everybody's input and their opinion when he created you. That's why we so complex as humans. We're complex. People only see a part of us. They don't see the inner workings. They didn't see God form you in your mother's womb. They don't know your gifts. They don't know all your talents. They only know a part of you, a piece of you. They don't know the whole you because they didn't create you. All right. So, I encourage you, stop measuring your worth by other people's approval. You worthy regardless, because newsflash, and this is so middle school, but everybody not gonna like you. Everybody not gonna approve of you. You not everybody's cup of tea. That's life. That's normal. Oh well, but guess what? Do your life stop because somebody don't like what you wearing today? No. Do your purpose stop because somebody don't believe it should be you in that position? Absolutely not. Life goes on. You know what I mean? So stop measuring your worth by other people's approval. Learn to validate yourself. All right? Validation for parking anyways. Learned this a while ago. It's not for people. But you got to look yourself in the mirror and be like, look, I know why I'm doing what I'm doing. It don't matter what nobody else think. Do you know how many eyes and questions I had? People questioning me about when I decided to study dance. What you gonna do with that degree? And how you gonna make money? What you gonna do? All these questions and all this stuff. Like this is not a conference call. I'm not asking you if I should do this. Like, I'm doing it. You get what I'm saying? And so they don't know. I wouldn't even be right here where I'm at right now if I didn't do that one little thing. If I would have listened to everybody else, I wouldn't even be the person that I am right now. And this could go back even further than that. Because as a child, a lot of times you pretty much know what you want to do. I mean, I did. I knew at a young age what I wanted to do, what I wanted to pursue. But I had so many other voices telling me, hey, you should do this or you should do that. You should look at the economy. You need something, reliable. You need something steady. You need something blah, 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 blah. But I could have sworn the Bible said that your gift will make room for you. Okay? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. They believe in the Bible, but they don't live it. Okay. Pause. Moral of the story is validate yourself. Listen, everybody is conditioned in some way, shape, or form. Everybody's thought process and mindset came from something. All right? So that's them. This is you. We're going to keep it moving forward because we already 20 minutes in. All right? What else? Two more things, and I'm going to let you go. The other thing is set boundaries that protect your peace. Said this at the beginning of the video, right? Self-love begins with boundaries. But what's something very important that I learned about boundaries is this. A lot of times when we think about boundaries, we think about other people. We think about tell them no. You not coming. You won't do it. You won't stand for that. This is what you're willing to do. This is what you're not willing to do. Boundaries start with you. I learned this the hard way. Boundaries start with me and myself. So this is what I mean. This is an example, right? If I call somebody and we're on the phone and I gotta be at work in 20 minutes. And they on the phone, they going, right? After we get off the phone, I'm late for work. I'm like 15 minutes late for work. So on my lunch break, my whole day is thrown off. I call a friend, I vent to them, tell them, you know, she talked to me for 20 minutes on the phone, and I had to be at work, and she just talking and talking and talking. You can't complain. You can't complain about them. You got to really look at yourself like, okay, I know I have a hard time cutting somebody off or saying no or telling somebody, look, I got to go. I have a hard time doing that. This is just an example, right? The boundary you set with yourself first. Like, look, they may not like what I have to say. They may not like when I cut them off. They might not like when they need me and I gotta be somewhere or I gotta go or I don't have the time at that moment. They may be a little upset or whatever the case may be. But this is just in myself. I still have to speak up. I still gotta say, look, I gotta go. I know this is important, but I gotta be in. I gotta clock in. I gotta go. I'll call you on my lunch. I'll call you after work, whatever the case may be. But it really starts with yourself. It really starts with yourself and telling yourself and holding true to yourself. Because a lot of times we'll tell somebody else, look, I'm not doing that. And then what do? We go back on our word. We be like, all right, I'm feeling all right today. I think I can do it today. No. Hold it within yourself first. So if you say, I can't do this, I can't do that for you, don't renege on that. So that boundary got to be strong within yourself first, and then you can set it with somebody else, right? All right, so what else? Once protecting your energy and not allowing people to treat you poorly. You are worthy. You know, this is why I always teach self-worth. Is because when you think less of yourself, you think you can just accept anything. No, we don't accept trash. We don't accept the bare minimum. You know what I mean? Like we have expectations. I'm not saying that they have to be unrealistic expectations, but hey, sometimes people gotta level up to deal with you. Sometimes people gotta level up to be with you. Yeah, sometimes people have to level up to be around you. Period. What we not accepting is the lies, the narcissistic behavior, the gaslighting. We not allowing people to come in with that toxicity and treat us poorly. So boundaries equal self-respect. Last thing, celebrate everything. Celebrate the small, celebrate the big, celebrate the in-betweens. Self-love don't happen overnight. Just if you see this video today, tomorrow you're not going to have it mastered. That's okay. You gotta celebrate by speaking up, resting without guilt. Choosing yourself. Growth takes time. Growth is a journey. Growth is a process. We can't rush the process. We can't skip the line. We can't, cut in front of nobody. We can't. We got to go through it. We got to go through it. That's the only way we going to learn. That's the only way we going to grow. All right, so celebrate yourself. Celebrate the small wins. Celebrate everything. It don't have to be nothing big. You should celebrate it, all right? So just because nobody taught you how to love yourself do not mean you can't learn. No matter how old you are. No matter how young you are. You're not behind. You're not too soon. You right on time. You right where you need to be. You hear me? All right? So do me a favor and leave a comment, y'all. What's one way you learning to love yourself today? Right now. Okay? Remember, you are divine inspiration, okay? You are a source of inspiration for your friends, your family, your community, and every single person connected to you. Do you hear me? All right. Make sure that y'all subscribe to the channel. I love you. Be blessed. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.